start with the her picking her up at the
Like a little,
hospital and going to Joe's? You want to start with
yeah,
that? Okay.
yeah.
So I loved how Maya was there, like ready to pick her up and had like the whole day planned. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna I don't remember what the first thing was, but then they were
It
gonna
was a rage room.
yeah, the rage room, which is great. And then
Yeah.
go to a picnic and then the Pink Door, which I found out is a real restaurant in
It is a real restaurant. They do like trapeze and burlesque and stuff
yeah,
there.
which I totally want to go to now. So if you ever come to Michigan, we're going to the Pink Door. Or not Michigan, California, sorry.
Well, it's in
Oh,
Seattle.
so we'll drive up to Seattle.
Yeah, and I will land in Seattle at some point because I was a baby grunger. When I was a teen, I was massively into grunge music, which is obviously born of Seattle.
Yeah.
And now I am a hardcore Brandy Carlisle fan, and Brandy is a Seattleite. So, and my parents went on a cruise a few years ago, and one of the stops was Seattle. And I gave them a list of all the places that I needed them to go and like photograph and go and visit for me, like all the old music haunts and stuff. And actually, the Pink Door, I actually knew of it through my obsession with the Seattle music scene because the Pink Door is in Pike's Place, and Pike's Place is where Brandy Carlisle started her career in
Okay.
that area, busking and playing in the restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
So when I heard the Pink Door, I was like, my worlds just collided. It was
Okay.
like
So
very
if
exciting.
you ever come, I will drive up to Seattle because it's not a terrible drive from here. And what we can even go see like where they film some of the scenes the
That would
for
be
Station
brilliant.
19. So, but yeah, I loved how she had the whole day planned. And then we end up getting to Joe's, which a lot of us kind of predicted that they were going to have a date at Joe's.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very sweet. I loved how Karina was like our kids, opening her practice and saying our
Yeah.
kids. I thought that was sweet.
I put that in my notes as well that I'd picked that out. And like, you
Yeah.
know how I am about the whole, I just don't, it's just so heteronormal. And I just hate how they always do that. It's like, oh, women are domestic. They all want kids, right? Even though they're a gay couple, let's give them kids. Or I know they're not a gay couple, same sex couple. Let's give them kids. It just bothers me. But even my ovaries twinged a little bit when she said that. Even my ovaries had a little twinge. But the way she very cutely kind of went, not now, one day,
Yeah.
because she didn't want to overwhelm Maya, I think. So yeah, I loved all of that as well.
Yeah. And I loved seeing them dance with the wedding party. I thought it was cute how Karina was doing like her little hand. It was totally Stefania to me and Danny in that
Yeah,
scene, not Karina and Maya, which I loved seeing them. I don't really have too much to say about that scene. I really enjoyed the connection, the emotional intimacy connection between Maya and Karina when they were treating the bride.
yeah,
I thought that was beautifully done, but other than that, I don't have much to say about that segment. Do you?
yeah. Well, there were just a few things that I just thought were really nice. So I understood that Karina was skeptical about Maya taking the personal day, but she wasn't like attacking in it. She very gently asked, "Are you benched and not telling me? Like,
Yeah.
what's the catch?" And I love that Maya didn't bite and be like, "Oh, why are you?" She just very calmly said, "Yeah, we've just got a lot of personal days to take, and come on, let's get a drink." Loved the bar slap
Yeah.
from Karina. Poof, loved that. And yeah, I liked the throwback with Helm popping up when Maya says, this is where we met, right? Yeah, I mean, come on, she didn't need reminding of that. Of course, she
Right.
knows that's where they met. But the Helm just kind of slid in there. I was there. I
Yeah.
really liked that. And then the other thing that I thought was it just stuck out to me as funny for no good reason. But when Maya orders the Bloody Mary, oh, and I liked that she ordered for Karina as well.
Yeah.
That was nice. She'll have a white wine. But that Karina's shocked because Maya hates tomatoes. How does an Italian live with somebody who hates tomatoes? What is she cooking if she can't cook with
Right.
tomatoes? And didn't Maya just make a lasagna 3 bloody weeks ago?
Right.
There's, I mean, the whole basis of that is a passata. So stuck out as weird to me, felt the need to raise it. I'm a sucker for the details.
Right.
So I just didn't know why that had to be in there. But there we go. I didn't get some of the pop culture references, I don't think, in this whole scene. So Helm says about the three drunk women, she says, because they were part of a bachelorette party. There were 12 and now there's only 3 standing. But she said there were 12 tributes and now there's only 3 left standing. And that sounded to me like it was from something that everybody in the world has been exposed to except me.
When I heard it, I thought she was talking about like the tribe of who they were. For tributes, I wouldn't understand that either.
Okay, maybe it's not just me then.
No.
One I checked with my dad because when the bride to be's bleeding on the floor and she says, I look like one of the Starks at the Red Wedding or something. I thought
Yeah.
that sounded like Game of Thrones. My father has confirmed to me that that's what it is. And that is another one of the things that everybody in the world has seen and loved that I have not seen and do not love.
I have not seen Game of Thrones either.
Oh, thank God. I knew there was a reason that we were
Yeah, I
friends.
haven't seen it either.
Oh, and I did love that Karina was trying to rope Maya into dancing and wanted none of it herself. Maya was
Yeah.
like, no, thank you. And Karina basically threw her off the stool and was
Yeah.
like, no, 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 she'd love to. Go on, have at it.
Yeah.
And then very reluctantly is like dragged up. Loved that. There was just so much. And like the physical comedy of like when the bride to be's doing the shots and then one of the other girls begs Maya for help. She's like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then another one's toppling backwards. Karina has to grab her.
Yeah, it was sweet.
The climbing on the bar. Like, honestly, everything about that I just thought it was brilliant. And then, yeah, of course, the bloody nose, which leads to Karina and Maya, bless their hearts, were trying to beat Hasty Retreat. But as soon as someone gets injured, they just have to go into hero mode, right? And
Yep.
stop and help. Helm's a doctor. She could have dealt with it, but
Yeah,
God
it
bless
caught
them
me
for.
off guard to see her working at the bar because I knew she was a doctor.
Yeah, something happened. I can't remember what, but there was some gnarly incident and it basically put her off being a doctor. So now she works at the bar. But I think she's
Oh,
earning more working at the bar than she was earning as a junior doctor.
so she's not a doctor anymore?
So she's not practicing anymore.
Okay.
She's bartending now.
Got it.
But I love that it gave them, because I think they're great when they work together, Maya and Karina.
Yes.
I love them working together. And the bride to be is concerned that she only has 6 days for her broken nose and black eye to go down before her wedding. And then Karina gives that beautiful speech about how if her husband is the one for her, he won't see the bruises, the dress, the makeup, he'll just see
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And then the bloody bride to be says it's all a bit scary. And then Maya chimes in and says she remembers the first glimpse she saw of her wife, as she says, at their wedding, how everything stopped and it was just the two of them against the world. And the future is scary because no one knows what's coming next. But that's basically the joy of marriage, is that you've got that person next to you to go through the ups and downs with. And then Karina finishes it off by asking the bride to be, Lucy, I think her name was, who she'd want to call right now. And then she says her mother's plastic surgeon.
Yeah,
It was funny. There were so many funny bits in it.
there were.
But aside from the plastic surgeon, it would be her fiance, which leads Maya to say that's how you know. And the googly eyes that they've been making at each other,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
just like
sweet.
so gorgeous. And then Lucy finally twigs that they're married to each other and says that they're the hottest couple ever. No one is going to disagree with you,
No.
Lucy,
No.
at that point. And then she says that she's upset that she's marrying a guy. And to that, Lucy, I say, you've got days left. It's not too late.
Yeah, I when she said that I was like, I kind of hear you. Like kind of agree with you.
But there were just so many nice moments. Helm tells Maya and Karina that they're goals and she looks up to them. And then Maya wondering why they can't make it through a first date. And of course, then Karina says, well, it needn't be over. and suggests that maybe they go back to the apartment for a change of clothes and a hot shower. And her tone of voice very much gives Maya to understand that she's not talking about the water temperature.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved Maya's, yeah, sure, okay, yep, uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah, the apartment. Okay.
I loved that. Like she knew what was about to go down, for sure.
Did you want to change that turn of phrase?
Um, I just loved it. I'll just say that.
Sorry. It's very late at night here. I may be delirious. But
Oops.
at the apartment, Karina's made it all nice. She's lit candles. They make love in the shower. And then when they're holding each other in bed afterwards, Karina starts to cry and tells Maya that although she hasn't asked, she knows that Maya wants her to move back in. But being back in the apartment is bringing back all the memories and the feelings of abandonment, and she's not ready to be back there. And Maya makes the most beautiful apology.
Oh, so I'm gonna be honest with you. I enjoyed the shower scene, but it was that scene that really took the episode home for me. Was
Yes.
Maya having that conversation and Karina finally hearing what she needed to hear. It just
Yeah.
ripped me apart.
Yeah. Saying that, I'm sorry that I didn't listen to you when you tried to help. I'm sorry for everything I put you through. It wasn't fair. And the bit that really pained me was when she said that the happy, light, and lovely version of them died in that hospital bed.
Right. Oh God, that was so hard.
Yeah. And I thought that Stefania fully killed that reaction.
Oh, totally. Totally.
You felt the gut punch of it's gone. That's over.
Yeah.
It's gone. We're never going to get that back. I really felt the loss for them.
Especially when for me when Maya said, I know we died that day in the hospital. That killed me. That line just
Yeah,
shredded me. But
yeah,
I do see potential that they're going to get better because I think Karina really heard what she needed to hear.
yes, yeah. And Maya finishes it off by saying that she's going to put in the work. She's going to build them back stronger because she knew from the first time she saw Karina in the bar that she was the person that she wanted to
Yeah.
call. And yeah, it was just stunning from beginning to end. And then obviously we get a nice little bit of payoff because they go to 19 together to go see Ben and support Ben. That's the last time we see them in the episode. So yes, Karina's got her own relationship with Ben, but it still felt like they were going as a couple
Right.
and putting on a united front and going very much together, not as Maya and Karina, who are Ben's friends separately, but as very much as a couple, as a unit. That's how I read it.
Right.
Because they're standing against the cabinets together and
Right.
laughing together, and it felt a bit like the Prue party.
Yes, I agree. When because they were standing in that same spot, right? Laughing and giggling
Yeah,
because it was after she had her green card appointment. So
yeah,
yeah, very very similar.
yeah. And there was so much that I appreciated about a lot of this. So I just wanted to call out Xavier and Henry for the details in this. So the date that Maya's got planned, the Pink Door is an Italian restaurant. And
Right.
I'm not certain that burlesque and trapeze is up Karina's alley, but I love that. And then the rage room thing, Karina has said before about smashing dishes. She said that the thought of Maya and Jack together used to make her want to smash dishes. And then
Yeah.
I'm sure I've heard Stefania make reference to smashing dishes on more than one occasion
Yeah.
as Stefania, not Karina. She definitely said it in the last live with Danielle. Oh, I'd be smashing dishes at this point. So I just really love it when the writers put these little Easter eggs in for the hardcore fans. So I just really appreciated that. Also, I'm devastated that we didn't actually get to see them in the rage room because the way that Karina attacked those pillows when the chief only gave her and Jack and Ben like a tiny percentage of the funding they needed for the clinic. I need to see her wielding a bat and throwing crockery with the same zeal that she attacked those pillows. I just think
That's so funny.
I just really, really appreciated just the little details. For me, that's the sort of thing that elevates the writing and elevates an episode. And I was also really proud of Maya and not being at all phased that all of her plans were going to waste.
Right, because she had all this stuff planned. Yeah.
Yeah. And when Karina's like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm knackered. She's just like, that's fine, I'll just drop you off at the hotel. You can have some kip.
Right.
Just completely chilled. She's grown so much. And then her face when Karina says, oh, we'll just go to Joe's, like her little face. And then Karina's reaction to that is like, oh, okay, see, Joe's.
Yeah.
I just loved it.
Yeah.
And then Maya was super pleased, at least as pleased as I was, to hear Karina say our kids as well, because that shows that Karina's still imagining a future with Maya in it. And I think that was really nice for us to
Right.
hear.
Yeah, because it was very different from when she was seeing
Home Wrecking Pam,
the
yeah.
homewrecker we're not supposed to talk about, where she was like, I don't, kids aren't really in the picture anymore. So it was nice to hear her say our kids. I really enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, because she was like, my wife was a big part of
Yeah.
that. And now it's back to our kids.
Right.
But again, with Maya's Zen attitude these days, when Karina says that what's the catch? You don't take personal days. That's the second time that day that someone's questioned her motives for something, because the chief said to her, what's the angle you're playing with the photos? Now Karina's saying, you don't take personal days. What's the catch? And she doesn't blame them for asking. She doesn't get defensive.
Yeah.
And she even tells Karina, Ross has every right to hate me. It's tough, but she has every right to hate me, so it's fine.
Yeah.
All the bar stuff was great.
Yeah. It was. And then Karina suggests going back to the apartment
Yeah, she does.
for the hot shower. And I think Marina fandom got what they've long been wanting. It was nice to see them, not even like necessarily the sexual intimacy, but like how they rubbed noses together. And I'm pretty sure at one point Karina said, I love you in the shower. It made Danielle smile a little bit. I can only assume she said something like that because you can see her mouth move a little bit. And that's kind of Karina's go-to, right? Is saying that to her. So it was nice to see them be comfortable enough to take their relationship back to that level.
Let me start with this. Why do people continue to shoot sex scenes in showers? Like sex in a shower is a good idea. Okay. And please, if I'm getting this wrong, I'm doing it wrong. I'm perfectly able to accept that that might be the case. If I'm doing it wrong, people, write in and tell me that I'm doing it wrong. But it always looks incredible on TV. But in reality, showers are cramped spaces. Unless you enjoy being waterboarded, I don't think it's fun. The shorter person of the pairing, which is always going to be me, let's face it, at my massive 5 feet tall, is going to end up with water up their nose, in their mouth. I was worried that Maya was going to get an ear infection the whole time because there's water pouring into her ears. All of the surfaces are hard. They are cold. They are slippery. You've got glass. You've got ceramic. You've got the actual metal thing of the shower itself.
Right.
Shower sex is not comfortable. The whole time I'm worrying if I'm going to drown or if I'm going to slip, break something, hit my head, and going to be rescued and have to justify to the people coming to stitch me up while I'm naked in the shower how exactly it happened. So, look, if I'm doing something wrong, someone tell me.
Send Melissa in some tips if you're listening.
Yeah, because this is something that I've persevered with to my detriment and I'm not prepared to do anymore, even though they made it look great.
They did. It was a beautiful scene. It was I enjoyed it, but like I said, I enjoyed the after more, the emotional intimacy that we saw.
I wish it hadn't been interspersed with all the Warren
Yes,
stuff.
I agree.
I really would.
It took away from that. I wish it would have just been that for like 3 minutes and then
When it finished, I said to Julie, well, that was beautiful. And she said, yeah, I just wish that we hadn't watched a man burn to death in between because it somewhat took the shine off.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah, it really took her out of it. And she said to me afterwards, we were talking about it again afterwards, and she said, obviously, I like the show. I really enjoy the show, but I wouldn't call myself a hardcore fan. But she said it was disappointing for me. She said, so for people that have been waiting for that, I think that it would have been kind of devastating for it to happen
Yeah.
in that way,
Right.
where it got cut in with all of that. So because it just took you out of the moment, which I agree with. And last week, when we were talking about Ross and Sullivan at the hotel,
Yeah.
and you said that there wasn't the parity, which is so weird because that was in a bath and this was in a
Yeah. Yeah.
shower, so it can get much more comparable.
Yeah.
But you were saying, it would be nice to get some parity and have that for Marina. And I said, I don't need it. It would be fine, but I don't need it. The emotional intimacy is more important to me. I'm going to say that I was wrong and that I've changed my mind in light of this scene, because the way it was directed, the cinematography, the way it was shot,
Yeah.
the way it was acted,
Yeah.
was so beautiful that the emotional intimacy was the focus.
Yep.
It was undeniably steamy, and yes, that is a shower pun. It's a deliberate one. I know you enjoy a pun, but it wasn't salacious in any way. It wasn't like, let's get them naked and have them have hot shit. It wasn't that. It was, the one thing that I will say is that Maya and Karina have been treated differently to the straight couples
Yeah.
during their sex scenes, in as much as they're always shown having sex with their clothes on.
Right.
They always have their freaking clothes on. The only exception was the counting the blessings scene, but they always have their clothes on. And when there's a physical barrier, i.e., clothing, it makes it feel to me more like it's about sexual gratification than intimacy.
Right.
It just seems like there's still a barrier between them. And so, therefore, the act is literally about sex. It's about sexual gratification. It's not about the intimacy between two people. And as a person who's been in same-sex relationships their whole life, and as a person that's in a 14-year-long same-sex relationship at this point, to see same-sex married people have sex with clothes on feels weird to me, and it feels like there's a disparity, and it feels like people like me are being treated differently.
That's what Wendy said on the live was she thought that having the clothes on was kind of a like who would have their clothes on kind of thing.
Yeah, but for me, the having the clothes on feeds into like a deeper issue than just, oh, nobody has sex with their clothes on. Who does that? It's more than that, because it's only them. And I just need to stay on my soapbox just for one more minute, and then I promise I'll stop. But historically, love scenes between two women were designed to titillate straight men. They were not realistic, they were rarely loving, and they were not at all intimate, ever.
So it was for the enjoyment of a heterosexual male.
Always.
Okay.
There's basically no exception. If you look through the history, I actually wrote a paper on this once, so um, I scored real well. But if you go through the history of it, and you'll find with a lot of stuff, like 90s movies, Cruel Intentions, don't get me wrong, I love the film, but there was the kiss between Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair. That was in no way designed for a women loving women audience. That was put there because it was going to be sexy to men,
Okay.
basically. It was
Got
going to
it.
get tongues like, there's I don't remember the name of the movie, because I'm not sufficiently interested, but there was some movie and it had a hot tub scene, I think some guy from 90210 or something, and there was like a threesome scene, and basically anytime that you saw women being physical with one another, it was for the enjoyment of a man.
Got it.
It was never because they cared for each other, because they loved each other. It was for the enjoyment of a man. So it wasn't realistic, because men don't know particularly how two women
Mm-hmm.
interact.
Right.
So there was either zero representation, no representation at all of same-sex female relationships. Then you would get a glimmer of hope of some representation, and then that would be dashed, And then it would be made even worse because someone, 99% of the time, probably 100% of the time, it would be a man who had taken something that's so intrinsic to your identity and so personal to you, the way that you express physical love for another person, your partner, like the most sacred act that I think that
Yeah.
a person can, undertake.
Right.
And they would distort it and fetishize it by imposing their ideas of what it should be, how it titillates them onto it. It's just based on their sexual taste, their kinks, what turns them on, and they turn it into entertainment, and it actually bears no resemblance to the physical expression of love between two women. And then it turns us into sexual objects and kind of almost objects of ridicule, because it feels like they're taking a mick when they take the essence of you and then turn it into that, like just make it entertainment. And the only time that I've really seen sex scenes between two women done well was on the L Word, but that was kind of salacious and that was kind of graphic.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was almost like an FU to everything that had come before,
Right. Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And oftentimes those sexual acts weren't about love and weren't about emotional intimacy. It was literally about girls going out, getting drunk on the prowl, having sex with girls, which is fine. That is absolutely fine. I've got no issue with that, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Do not get me wrong. But as a person who is in a long term, loving, monogamous relationship with another woman and has been for 14 years, those 20 seconds, however long it was, of the two of them in the shower was perfection. I'm going to get emotional and I'm going to cry. Don't do it, Melissa. Hold it in, breathe. Because it was perfection. It was so intimate.
It allowed you to
It
feel
was
seen, right?
Yeah, it was so realistic. Like the little details about where they put their freaking hands.
Yeah.
These are things and you are absolutely right. It made me feel seen. It was sheer perfection, I think. So, for like me personally, I have to thank Xavier and Henry and Paris and Danielle and Stefania, because what they did is rare and beautiful, and it made my big gay heart very, very happy.
I'm glad.
So I will now climb gently off my soapbox, because we know how accident prone I am.
No, I was telling Josh that I thought that scene was so important because if I identified as, homosexual or bisexual, it would be important for me to see that representation on TV in a way that it was done so beautifully on Station 19. So I appreciated that very much. It was done very well.
Yeah,
Props to everybody, for sure. Yep.
yeah, it was perfect. So,
Anything else for this episode?
well, what did you feel about Karina's reaction saying, I can't be back here? Did you think she was talking about the apartment necessarily, or just their domestic situation? Like she's not ready to move back in because the four walls make her anxious, or she can't move back in because being back in a domestic situation of waking up with her every day and going to sleep with her every day is too much?
I felt for me it had more to do with the memories of the pain that she endured for so long alone in that apartment, and that
Yeah,
that pain is very hard to work through when you stay in the environment where the pain happened. And
yeah,
so I think because I think she actually said it wasn't about the sex. It's just, I'm not ready to be here because I was alone for so
yeah,
long. You walked away from me
yeah,
for so long. So
yeah.
I feel it was just her getting overwhelmed with all the painful memories that took place, is my opinion.
Okay.
What did you think?
I ventured onto Twitter again, didn't I? Like, why do I do it? Why do I do it? I go on there to look at political
Yeah.
stuff and then get sucked into
Marina.
this stuff. But someone was like, "Oh, just move house then." Oh, does that mean they're moving apartments? And I just wondered if it was that simplistic that when she said, I don't want to,
I don't think it's as simplistic.
didn't see it as being as simplistic as I can't move back into this apartment because this apartment holds bad memories. I saw it as I can't move back in. Like going out on dates, having sexy, slippery shower time is one thing, but coming back into the domestic situation is too much for now. So I didn't see it as simplistic as we just need to move house. I saw it as we still have work to do before we can move back in
No, I
together.
agree 100%. I think that moving to another apartment or a house, the painful memories are still there seeing Maya every day. I think she still,
It's just a band
yeah,
aid.
I think she needs to see more of improvement Maya, which she's working on.
Yeah,
And then she could probably move back into the apartment. I don't, it's not as simple as just finding a new place to live. Not at all.
no. But what did give me a lot of hope, and I think what salvaged that, because obviously Karina was overwrought. But I think what gave me hope and I think closed out that scene without making it kind of depressing and making us wonder and making us Marina fans scared again was how they held each other at the end and the way that Karina exhaled and like really pulled Maya in close. And it shows that she's not emotionally pulling away. She's still very much invested and wants to be back in Maya's arms physically and emotionally, I think.
I
So
agree. And when you're going to ask me what my favorite line is, which I know you're going to,
I am.
um, it was Maya's dialogue where she said, I know what we had was light and lovely and that it died in the hotel room, but I'm willing to work. That was written so beautifully and it definitely made me tear up. I loved that whole dialogue.
That was Xavier because he wrote the line Karina's light and lovely and I'm not when they moved in and
Yeah.
Maya was feeling a bit edgy about it. So he was calling back
Yeah.
to that. So that was Xavier. So nice one, Xavier.
Yes, loved that line. Loved it. What was your favorite line?
Well, I had a few. You know what I'm like. I always ask you for one and then I give you like eight. So, but I loved Chief Ross telling the union, "You will have my back." I thought the drunk girls, the one drunk girl, particularly the one in the pink dress, had some really funny lines. I loved it when
Yeah.
she was talking to Karina about her husband, and then she just kind of goes, "Fry," and hands her a half
Yeah.
masticated chip. It was really
Right.
silly, but it's something that I'll remember. And when she said, "Bitch, that's gonna leave a mark," loved that.
Yeah. Or you could just bleed to death and then you can miss it.
I was like, I
Like,
was just trying to look for a solution. Yeah, she was really, really
right.
good. And I loved Mara and Karina talking about their marriage at Joe's. And then I've written down as my last one and Maya's speech at the apartment.
Yes. I also loved Andy's just call the damn boy. I also love that line too.
Yes, I
Yeah.
loved that. Yeah,
Yeah.
call the damn boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So a lot of good scenes, a lot of
yeah,
actors had good growth. You know, Maya's growth is extraordinary. Andy's growth is extraordinary.
yeah,
The least amount of growth to me is Sullivan. He's just turning right back to the jerk that he used to be.
yeah, yeah. Well, it irked me to say this, but against my better judgment, I said that I thought Theo had some growth because he grew professionally.
He did.
Like,
He tried to be there for the team a little bit
yeah,
better, except everybody but Vic.
yeah. I felt that he had professional growth and he handled himself well at the scene.
Yeah,
But I think for personal growth, I've had to say Marina,
yeah,
like as a team,
for
like
sure.
Myra and Karina as a couple had the most personal growth, 100%.
For sure.
Um, did you see any overarching themes in this one? Or anything that seemed to run through, like any parallels that ran through, or
Um, putting out fires, I think.
yeah,
Ross putting out a fire, the actual little literal fire, Andy trying to put out the fire of how the station is running and bringing people together, Maya trying
yep,
to put out the fire in the relationship. So I think it was just everybody trying to build a solid foundation in where they are.
yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah, I thought maybe self preservation versus self sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, like, Dixon only understands self preservation at all costs. Andy tells Warren that self preservation is the only way that he can protect his family. As we know, Warren has no sense of self preservation and he's all self sacrifice.
Right.
And he was prepared to sacrifice himself again, running back into the burning building. Theo, I thought, had a bit of self sacrifice when he, this is going to sound weird, but stick with me, had self sacrifice when he was willing to sacrifice Warren, thus preserving more of the team, because it's not the first time that he's lost a firefighter. So he knows the personal toll that that takes on a person, but he was prepared to take on that pain and let Warren go if it meant keeping the bulk of 19 safe. So I thought even he was prepared to self-sacrifice a bit. Travis, he's prepared to self-sacrifice giving up Eli to preserve his relationship with Andy.
I was going to bring that up too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the chief, she self-sacrificed to preserve Sullivan. Sullivan is so entrenched in self-preservation that he fails to see that in her, that she's fallen on her sword and has made the sacrifice, and he sees it as her carrying out an act of self-preservation and sacrificing him. So he's got it all twisted.
Totally selfish. Yeah.
And then Maya's prepared to self-sacrifice all day long for Karina.
Right.
She's just basically said, I'll just do whatever you want. Everything that I do for now is for you. So I'm going to sacrifice all my needs, all my wants. It's all going to be pushed aside for you. And Karina, if she moves back in, would be self-sacrificing. That would be self-sacrificial. Because even though she wants to keep the magic alive, the pain that she feels in that situation would kill her. So she's opting for self-preservation by saying that she can't move in yet. So I thought it was all about people making a choice to either self-sacrifice or self-preserve.
Right. I agree. That's a good one.
And then what was your favorite scene?
That's a good question. Probably the talk between Maya and Karina after the shower, but also the interaction between Andy and Ben when she said you fell through the roof, and how they communicated with each other. Those were powerful scenes.
Yes, powerful is the right word for that, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think separately, the shower scene and Ben's scenes, I just wish they hadn't been cut together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was a disservice having them separated like that, for sure.
Because individually, they were beautiful in their own way, but having them cut together just diluted both of them, and then everything that Mel Dandridge touched,
was perfect, for sure.
was a brilliant scene.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then gifable moments.
Probably when Andy rolled her eyes and was like, "Call the damn boy."
Yeah, that would make a good gif.
Yeah.
I said the drunken ladies dancing.
Yeah, that would be a good one too.
The shower scene has already been gifted about 500 times, which is how I found out about it, because I opened Instagram and was just like, boom, and so it was like, oh, look.
Yeah.
Naked shoulders. Well, now I know what's happened.
Sure.
So that's a moot point almost. And what about for next week? What are you looking forward to? Well, not next week. It'll be the week after. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Danielle's directorial debut, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on with Ross and Sullivan. Yeah. If Eli's going to text Travis back, if Vic's just going to ditch Theo. I'm not looking forward to this Chaos Kate character at all. And yeah, just more Marina dates, right? Like seeing them come together and all of that stuff. How about you?
Well, it's all gone a bit quiet on the Theo's old neighborhood front, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah. Another storyline we can add to our ended storyline podcast.
Well, if they don't revive it soon, it will have to get added to the list, won't it? But I'm still hopeful that there's some sort of political intrigue there, just because I think political intrigue makes things more exciting.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing if anything happens there. I'm also looking forward to the fallout from the Ross situation, seeing where all the cards lie, both for her professionally and for her and Sullivan personally. I'm interested to find out who Kate is and what she's about. And as we
Yes.
saw from the preview, Beckett's back. So it'll be good to see what happens there. And it'll be
Yep.
interesting to see how they're going to move Maya and Karina on as well if they can't cohabit yet. So, in the same vein that you said, you're looking forward to seeing them crack on.
For sure. Yep. My last question was before we end, did you see Stefania's Zita Sempre movie?
Only 3 times.
I know I wanted to watch it the other day to show my mom, and I cannot find it anywhere to watch it because it's not on that link anymore for
No.
the festival. And I actually tweeted her asking how we can watch it because I wanted to show it to my mom. But I wanted to take time on the podcast to give Stefania a shout out. Beautifully, magically done. It touched my heart so much and just
Yeah.
made me, my mom is my best friend. And to think about when she passes, like having questions I didn't think to ask, or who am I going to talk to now? And
Yeah.
it was just beautifully done. So,
It doesn't bear thinking about,
yeah, I
does
just
it?
wanted to.
And when I saw in the closing credits that her sister, who has obviously also recently passed, narrated the mother's part, that just took me down. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it did.
I watched it 3 times on the bounce because it was so beautiful. And I sent the link to a few friends as well because I was like, you have to watch this. This is absolutely stunning. Everybody
Yeah.
was suitably impressed. And yeah, I mean, kudos to her. I mean, for a first shout, for a first time out,
Yeah,
good
beautiful.
God. I mean,
Yeah.
what's she going to be capable of in the future if that's the first attempt, you know? So it was just an absolutely stunning piece of work, just 10 minutes of perfection. So yeah.
It was. What she did in 10 minutes, I will never understand how
No,
she did that. Beautifully done.
yeah, it took me on a journey. It was just, it was absolutely just stunning. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. I just wanted to give us the last couple minutes to send props to Stefania and how beautiful it was. And um,
Yeah.
we enjoyed it
Yeah.
so much. So good job.
So in 2 weeks, we have 616, Dirty Laundry. Remind me who directs this one again? I'm sure I should remember.
I think her name is it Deborah?
Yeah, Deborah
Diane?
something.
No.
Yeah, it'll come. It'll
Danielle,
something.
maybe?
It'll
I
come
don't
to us. It'll
know.
come to us.
I
It'll
don't,
come to
I
us.
don't.
But it says that the team responds to a tragic freeway pileup. Andy helps Natasha face the fallout of a recent decision, just as Ben deals with the fallout of his own. And it's going to be on at 4 a.m. over here. And usually I do not because I'm very old now. Long gone are the days when I can pull an all-nighter.
Yeah,
So
for
as a
sure.
general rule, I do not stay up to watch Station 19. I just watch it over the weekend. That said, because this is a little bit of a special one,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm debating going to bed a couple of hours earlier and getting up at 4 instead of 6 to watch it with you. What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do it.
Yeah? Should we do
Yeah.
that? Should we watch together?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sweet.
I could even like I could set something up with my TV or my laptop so you can watch it live or something.
I'd love that. We can get on
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, and I can just set it up on a thing and hold it so you can see it.
So I
Sure.
can watch Station 19 on my laptop, which I'll plug into my telly, and then have my phone so I can talk to you on WhatsApp and we can have our own little mini watch party or something.
Yeah, that would be fun. Let's do it. So to celebrate. Yeah,
Let's do it since it's a special one for
for
Danielle.
sure.
Let's do that. Okay. Well, it is now 11:05,
Oh, geez.
which means that it's 2 hours past my bedtime because Nana's getting old. And so I think I will say goodnight to you, and we will get together and discuss what we're going to do next week since we don't have a new episode.
For sure.
All right. Well,
Okay.
until next time, my friend.
Yeah, we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
speak soon. Bye.
Bye.